U.S. Senator Bob Casey's been in our region this past week, touring various counties, seeing what's going on, and he's back with us right now to talk a little bit more about some of the big issues ahead for our region and the nation. First off, your reaction. You got out to the Shell site in Potter Township in Beaver County. Your reaction to what's happening up there?
Well, it's remarkable, Bill, what you see there, and you've seen it, to see all the construction jobs already, hundreds of them already, beginning to build that facility. Among the more impressive things I saw when you stand on what is now a parking garage, right in the middle of what was a small mountain. the expression "the moving mountains" actually applies. They're able to move that hillside to prepare for, and then have a new road constructed right there to prepare for this massive investment, which will mean, as you know, hundreds of permanent jobs and thousands of construction jobs. And it gives us a chance to take an asset, which in this case is natural gas, and then the ethane, and turn that into the feedstock for all kinds of products. So it allows us to have a major manufacturer in southwestern Pennsylvania that I'm not sure that even a few years ago people could even dream of.
You know, they weren't building these
advantage.
Kinds of facilities in the United States, and certainly not around here before they struck all that gas down underneath Pennsylvania and neighboring states. It's been remarkable. You know, one of the big ways that big projects move forward it has been the ability of big companies and sometimes smaller companies in our region and in the state to get the loans guaranteed by the Ex-Im Bank to move those projects forward. There was good news last year, and I know you were involved in it, in getting the Ex-Im Bank reauthorized, but it's not a lot has happened since then. What's the issue, and why do you think it's important that's
well, the
addressed?
reauthorization took far too long, and I'll never understand why folks in Washington would oppose it, because this is the one way that our firms here in southwestern Pennsylvania, for example, are able to compete and bring products all over the world. Just in Pennsylvania alone, over about a 5 or 6 year period, we had $6 billion worth of goods going around the world from our firms here in Pennsylvania. So the problem now is the board doesn't have enough members to authorize projects above $10 million. So we've got to keep pushing the administration and the Republican majority to get those seats filled so you can have the full benefit of the Ex-Im Bank. It's so difficult for companies not just to be able to compete, but even if you have a great product you can sell in another country, if there are impediments in that country, walls and efforts made by other countries to prevent a product from getting into that country, sometimes the only financing vehicle for a company is to get Export-Import Bank financing. So I hope the administration will be able to move it forward and get the board filled and move it.
I've heard it really levels the playing field, because other countries are investing in their company's ability to sell goods and services here in the United States, right? So the other thing really ties back to what you were saying about Shell is all those jobs, which is wonderful. But that's thousands of jobs to fill, and in our particular region, based on some of the analysis that's been done by the Allegheny Conference, we could be short as many or more than 80,000 people over the next decade to replace the baby boomers that are retiring. Is there anything afoot in Washington that could help address that situation?
Well, I think we always have to look to our workforce development system more broadly. But in particular, one way to really prepare for those circumstances where you need on a continual basis a high-skilled workforce is to reauthorize, as we're continuing to work on, the Perkins Career and Technical program, because that's a program that allows employers who need a certain kind of employee, certain kind of worker, and often it's a high-skilled worker, to be able to collaborate with colleges, high schools, community colleges to develop a strategy for that community, for that region. We're going to need it for the cracker plant in Beaver County, as you mentioned. We're going to need it in other circumstances to be able to develop the pipeline of workers you need. And these are, in many cases, are not just high skill, but very high paying jobs that will allow us in southwestern Pennsylvania not just to compete, but to win.
So, last question, given everything that's going on in Washington these days, you able to handicap how likely it is any of this gets done or moved forward? What do you?
Well, I'm an optimist, so you have to be in my business, especially lately, but we've got a lot to do to focus on raising wages and creating jobs and moving the economy forward.
All right, U.S. Senator Bob Casey, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah. Next up, the unique partnership behind a $1 million pro bono investment in bootstrap startups in the city of Pittsburgh. Stay with us.